Welcome, everybody. My name is Hannah Sandmeyer, and I am the founder of Steward Market. And as I just shared, today's demo is specifically built for brokers, M&A advisors, and investment banks. Before we get started, just one housekeeping item. As you have questions or comments, please do add them to the chat. You can either add them to the group chat, or you can just send them directly to Elena. Your choice there. She can certainly collect them and offer them at the end of the call as well on your behalf. So Steward Market is the first marketplace for ethical exits. And when we say ethical exit, we do not mean perfect. We do not mean to be the values police. Rather, what we mean is, in terms of an ethical exit, is not to use it as a moral label, but just as a better, more complete set of questions before ownership changes hands. So who owns the business next? What does that buyer protect? What happens after close? Who needs to be in the room to set the course for that outcome? That is what we mean by ethical exit. And for brokers and advisors, this matters because you're often one of the first people founders trust with those questions. So today I'll show you why we built Steward Market, why brokers should care, and how the matching logic works. And then we'll walk through the live platform and show you how it works in real time. So just a quick level setting. I know a lot of you in the room are talking about M&A and working with these transactions every day. You're largely likely aware of this, but just a quick note, I think it's always important to level set on where we are. So we are absolutely entering one of the largest ownership transitions in modern history. By 2035, an estimated 6 million small businesses in the US alone are expected to change hands, representing roughly $5 trillion in enterprise value. So this is not just a transaction story, it's a community, jobs, wealth, and ownership story, and brokers are going to be at the center of that, helping many owners decide what comes next. And currently today, the market is, I would say, simply not working well enough, and I don't think that many people would maybe argue with me. And certainly, this was is made plain in the study from the McKinsey Institute that just came out at the end of February this year. They shared that in 2022, 92% of small business exits ended in closure. This doesn't mean that the business didn't just simply transfer. It means that they just rather disappeared. So they closed their doors. These were businesses of all shapes and sizes from all different industries. Many were quite healthy and had a lot of opportunity and wealth to transfer, but they just simply did not. So when that happens, of course, employees lose jobs, communities lose services, owners lose legacy, and local economies absolutely lose momentum. And a closed business is not just a failed sale, it's a lost transition. And brokers are one of the few groups that actually are positioned to help change that. So that's why we're so excited to work with you and to partner with you in as many ways as we can. And frankly, we believe that there's an infrastructure gap that's present here. So every major market has a platform. Zillow is that for real estate. LinkedIn is that for professional careers. And of course, networking. Startup investing has Angel List. But the ethical business exits, as I described, ethical exits, does not currently have a marketplace. So that is the gap that Steward Market is looking to fill. And that's just not more to fulfill the needs of more deals, but just to create better discovery and better conditions for more businesses to transfer in the way that they're seeking to transfer. So for brokers and advisors, Steward Market creates a new stewardship channel, a place to be discovered by founders, buyers, and partners who care more about than simply just the price of the business. And I think that it really can solve or can offer opportunity in a few different ways for brokers and advisors. First, it can save time. Brokers spend a lot of energy sorting through bad fit conversations, unclear seller priorities, and buyers who may be financially capable but not aligned with what the seller actually wants to protect. So Steward Market helps to surface that context earlier so buyers can self-select in or out before everyone spends time on the wrong conversation, which we know and we're sensitive to is a big expense for brokers. Secondly, it can simply expand opportunity. A broker can create a new visibility channel for their firm, expand the buyer universe for seller clients, and attract better fit sellers and buyers who are already looking for values aligned transition support. And third, we think it will help brokers and advisors simply do their best work. Most brokers already have these deeper conversations with founders. What happens to their employees? Will the culture survive? Is this buyer really the right steward? Steward Market gives those conversations a structured place to live. So the key idea is simple. Misalignment is simply expensive. It costs time, trust, momentum, and sometimes the deal itself. And Steward Market helps brokers surface fit earlier, so those conversations that do move forward are better contextualized, better aligned, and more likely to lead to an outcome that everyone can stand behind and be happy and proud about. So values don't replace deal fundamentals, of course. They just improve the buyer universe. And stewardship requires more than just a buyer and a seller. A founder may be exploring a sell, but they also may need capital, an attorney, or an employee ownership advisor, a lender, or a broker who understands their legacy and what they want to protect. A buyer may be looking for a company, but they may also need acquisition capital or deal support. And partners are certainly not peripheral. Brokers, advisors, lenders, attorneys, EO advisors, and capital providers often shape whether a transition is possible at all, and each seat at the table, from our perspective, absolutely has a point of view, a value system. And Steward Market makes that visible. We don't just show what someone is looking for, we help surface why they're here and how they intend to show up. That right transition often depends on who gets into the room early enough to shape that outcome. So this is the part that really makes Steward Market different and powerful, and I'll be able to show you in real time once we get into the live platform. But most M&A discovery is organized around industry, size, geography, and price. Those things matter, but they're not enough to answer the bigger question of, is this the right fit? On Steward Market, values, timing, needs, identity, capital interest, ownership goals, and stewardship priorities become searchable signals. They're not just hidden in someone's private notes, likely your notes or the seller or buyer notes. They're visible earlier, so better conversations can happen earlier. So values on Steward Market serve as infrastructure. And this is what it can look like for brokers as it leads to better matches and better outcomes. So, for instance, a B Corp seller may want to find a B Corp buyer. And they also maybe want an advisor who understands mission driven transactions. A a founder seeking local brand preservation, buyer signals, place-based ownership can also find an advisor who optimizes for legacy preservation. So you can see how Steward Market starts to match on the same ideals or values across all sides of the table. A seller who cares about employee well-being can also find a living wage certified buyer and broker who knows how to advocate for that and protect that in deal structure. And an employee ownership buyer can also find sellers who are already open to that pathway. We speak with so many um, different companies that have an employee ownership model that are now building holdcos. On Steward Market, they can really advertise that that is their model beyond what they're seeking for. They're seeking in a financial transaction. And a seller earlier in the process can seek out partners who help at the beginning. And I know a lot of brokers do. They do maybe even get involved with a seller a couple years before they are actually ready for a transaction. So everything from deal modeling to founder transition coaching is searchable and identifiable on Steward Market. And a buyer can indicate readiness and a timeline, so they can match the right sellers and providers based on where they are in the process. And folks certainly prioritizing a long-term hold can also find their stewards. So we'll talk a little bit more about these filters as we get into the platform, but this is why we call this values as infrastructure. The platform is not telling people what to value. It gives them a way to name what matters, search for that fit, and find the people who need to be in the room. And the same matching works across all sides of the table. So I'm just about to go into the live site, and this is what I would like you to be on the watch for, or notice as I walk through each one of these things for the broker workflow. So first, a broker can create a public partner profile, so the firm is discoverable to founders, buyers, and perhaps other ecosystem partners like capital providers. A broker can also launch a mass seller listing on behalf of their clients, preserving context and anonymity. And a broker can, of course, also create buyer profiles for their buy side clients, showing not only what these clients want to own, but how they intend to own. And then we also have a really robust dashboard that helps you manage your listings, your profiles, see and respond messages, save any items that are of interest, track activity, and also provide full team visibility. We understand that your structures can vary from office to office, state to state, and we've built permissions and controls and workflows to help you manage your team, as well as multiple people might be touching the listings. So this certainly matters for the broker process. And now I'll transition to start to show that to you as it looks live. Okay, so this is Steward Market. This is the public door for our ethical exits marketplace. For brokers, the easiest way to think about Steward Market is it's just an additional discovery layer. We're not replacing brokers, attorneys, lenders, or the active deal work. We're just improving discovery before people are deep in the process. And the strength of the platform really comes from those two things that I just isolated: diverse filters and deep in expression. The filters make values, timing, and capital and pathways more searchable, and the listings and profiles give people more room to explain the meaning behind those signals. So Steward Market makes it easy it's structured enough to search across a lot of different interests and protocols, but it's also a human enough to trust and intuitive for almost anybody to understand how to search the platform and find what they're looking for. So we really feel that better discovery creates better first conversations, and that leads to better, more consistent deal flow for you as the broker, advisor, or investment bank. So let's start with seller visibility, because I think that's one of the most familiar use cases for brokers. And we might also already have some brokers on here that are representing sellers only. So let's look at that. So this is our seller directory. And you'll note that the filters are, as I said, quite expansive and beyond what you would see on other marketplaces, but certainly also contain the same filters that are most familiar for you. So let's use these powerful filters, and let's search for a certified B Corp that is also, let's say, let's look at a family-owned business. So I can use those filters. Here's one, a 3-store outdoor outfitter with a loyal local following. So you'll notice on just this first card, you get quite a bit of information about the seller. So you have that business headline, the asking price, and then as I roll over these badges, I can get more information about what the seller cares about, and I can also see their transaction readiness. So this seller in particular is actively seeking a buyer. I can also see that they're opted into an impact exit. I'll explain that a little bit at the end, but you can see that right on the card. So when I open up this listing, the first thing, of course, that you'll notice is that seller listings are masked. And that matters because founders should be able to explore without overexposing themselves before there's real mutual interest. And certainly you want to protect and preserve the communication. So you'll see that headline and description, but not exposing proprietary details or the company name. This gives the broker, again, a way to create aligned visibility while still protecting the confidentiality of your client relationships. And as a paid user, someone can save the listing or send a message through the platform. And as we scroll, we start to see the seller's stewardship priorities, values, and certifications, and we can also start to see the business fundamentals. So financials matter, of course. They are readily available and searchable on Steward Market, and you can see them there. But we can also see more about this business. So we can see culture, purpose and values, desired stewardship profile, non-negotiables when seeking a buyer. And for a broker, this becomes helpful because it gives the client's priorities a structured place to live. So I know that you're probably relaying this information in a lot of different ways over and over and over again. Steward Market gives that a place to live. So not a normal business listing. But this is what we think better discovery looks like, not less rigorous, just more complete. So the seller can it can certainly ask the question of, beyond who will pay, they can also ask who will grow this without breaking what makes it special. So for brokers, we feel that this supports several use cases. Obviously, you can represent an active seller. You can also support a seller who's still early and trying to understand their options. um, you can also just help your sellers understand that there's a wider buyer universe out there. It can expose them to additional buyers and partners that might be more in alignment with what they're actually looking for at the end of the day. So less time explaining fit, but just more time advancing the right conversations. Now let's go ahead and look at the buy side. I know some of you also represent buyers. And this is a really, I think, a powerful aspect of what we built with Steward Market. So Steward Market it absolutely expands that buyer universe and makes buyer profiles candidly visible. So I think this is one of the most powerful aspects of what we built here. So again, the filters matter. So we have the filters that you would expect to see, but then we have a wide variety of others as well. And we've tried to be intentional and diverse in our thinking here and intentionally expansive. So let's take a look at a buyer profile, for instance. Let's look at one. Let's start with maybe EBITDA range. So a buyer that's targeting 500,000 to a million in EBITDA. Let's say that they are a strategic acquirer. And let's be a little more expansive here. Let's say that they're living wage certified. We can search for that. And maybe also veteran owned. Let's see what we get there. Okay, great. So here is a buyer listing. So you'll notice on the card, very similar to what we saw with the seller. That is intentional. So you see the same items are listed here. As far as they're also opted into an impact exit. You see the headline. You could scroll over the badges to see a little bit more information about what they care about. We also call out capital readiness. So this buyer has a capital committed, but it's still specific. And then we can also see their stewardship priorities. So they're a mission aligned strategic buyer. And when we dive into the card, you'll notice again that it's mass, so it protects the identity of the buyers that you're representing. You have the buyer headline and description, and you can also start to see the same badges here are rolled out, so you can see them more information on that. The certifications, their stewardship pathway. You can also see their industries of interest, and then of course all the details of the buyer. So what makes this business unique? What are their intent? What's their intent and experience? What is their relative capital readiness and the stewardship models that they support? And then, of course, beyond that, you can see all the deal types and financials, in addition to hold period, which we think is I'm not sure if any other platform has that. That might be unique to Steward Market, but it's certainly one that we think is really important. So the buyer profiles here are where buyers show how they intend to own, not just what they want to buy. And we think that that distinction really matters. And for brokers, this is valuable because it helps you find or build a more aligned buyer universe. So if your client or seller cares about employee continuity, local presence, certification continuity, or long-term stewardship, a buyer's hold period and ownership philosophy absolutely matters. And these details are often invisible on existing platforms. Steward Market makes them visible earlier and searchable. So that's how buyers work on Steward Market. Now let's take a look at the partner side, because I think this is also where the marketplace becomes more than just buyer and seller matching. It also becomes a place where brokers fit directly into the ecosystem. So the first thing to note is that partner profiles are public and they are discoverable. So they let brokers and advisors show what kinds of clients they serve, what outcomes they optimize for, and when they enter the process. So on Steward Market, a broker profile is not just a directory listing. We think of it more as a positioning asset. If you serve founders who care about legacy culture, employees, a local continuity or mission, your profile should make that visible. And this also helps founders and buyers understand why they would choose you before they're ready to formally engage. So let's look at one of these partner profiles. Let's look at a business broker. Let's see, that is, let's say that helps with early exploration of exit options. So here's one. Let's take a look at Evergreen Transition Partners. So again, same things here. This partner is opted into an impact exit, but their listing is fully public. So even non-subscribers to Steward Market, people who aren't actively listed on the marketplace today, can still find you on Steward Market. So when we think about backlinks and SEO and AIO, Steward Market can be a really interesting and a new addition to your marketing strategy. You have your full name, you have your website, you can even upload a logo, of course, or a short video to explain your offering. And again, as people are logged into the platform, they can actively message you as well. But as we scroll down, we'll notice that your profile looks the same, or is built the same as buyers and sellers. And of course, that is intentional. So you have your stewardship pathway, your values and commitments, your owner identity and certifications, if relevant. Those are not hard coded. You don't have to enter in anything there if it doesn't make sense for you, but certainly you have the option if you do. Also, you have the ability to talk about what types of deals you support and your objectives, and when you enter the process and your role in the process. I think that can be really important for folks, and certainly in addition to outcomes that you optimize for. So really, what are you good at? What do you care about? What are you known for? Or what do you want to be known for? Steward Market can really certainly make that visible. And as you know, and as you experience on a day-to-day basis, for many of you sellers and in your buyers in your portfolio, this may be their first ownership transition. So they may not know what kind of support they need or when they need it in order to achieve the outcome that they care most about. Steward Market helps you make that support ecosystem visible. And brokers, attorneys, lenders, employee ownership advisors, transition consultants, all are welcome on Steward Market. So what you actually might find, in addition to um, uh, gaining access to net new deal flow from buyers and sellers who are seeking an advisor. Certainly, I think the other opportunity on Steward Market is that you can also have a unique opportunity to partner with other professionals in the ecosystem who may not be familiar with your practice. So it can become a good network builder as well. And certainly, as you can see, that Steward Market is not a replacement for the advisory process. It's just an additional multi-threaded discovery layer. And we certainly understand that partners are often the difference between a good intention and a workable transition. And the best brokers are already stewards of contacts. Steward Market just, again, makes that visible earlier and often to folks who would care most about how you're differentiated in market. Okay, so we've looked at the public discovery layer so far. Now I want to show you what it looks like from the user side, especially for firms that are managing multiple listings, profiles, messages, and relationships. So let me show you the back end dashboard of Steward Market. So this is the user dashboard. This is where the public discovery layer now turns into managed workflow for your business. So as you can see, users can manage listings, buyer profiles, partner profiles, messages, saved items, activities, and team members from one place. A person or a firm can be managing a seller listing, a buyer profile, or a partner profile, or all of the above. For brokers and advisors and investment banks, we understand this certainly matters because you might be representing both sellers and buyers, or both. And you might have multiple agents managing different client relationships. So you might want to have one firm level presence, but then also have a team threaded underneath you. We've made that all possible in a simple, easy to use backend on Steward Market. So you can see your active listings. You can see your active listings here. You can see the status of them and who is, if you have an agent who's actively managing that listing, you can see that. You can see your active profiles. These would be your buy side profiles and also your partner profile. Currently, I'm logged in as the lead on this team. I'm the head broker, so I can see all of this. I can also see messages across all of our active listings for evergreen transition partners. But you can also start to see how we've threaded different user permissions. So Eli's book and Maya's book are separated. They can only respond to the listings or the profiles within their own profile, and you can start to see a little bit of how we're doing that and how you can control that as the lead broker. You also have a live activity feed. You can see your saved listings or saved profiles. And again, you can start to manage your team. So with Steward Market, of course, we're open to feedback as you have different ways that or different needs. We can certainly work with you on what you might need and what it might need to look like for your individual team. But the way that we've set this up is that you can set your firm up. You can create offices or teams, assign listings to the right office or broker group, and control who can see or manage each listing. We do have a concept, of course, permissions. And currently, right now, we have three different permission types. So beyond the full control owner, which is Jordan, Jordan can control, see, do basically anything, create, delete, edit, and assign, versus a contributor that might be more of an admin staff that can create and edit listings and manage leads. And that is differentiated from a broker member who can only view their assigned listings and respond to inquiries, but can't manage the listing details itself. We understand that can be important in your office. So from this dashboard, certainly users can manage all aspects of their business on Steward Market. Okay, so that's where we help you manage the workflow from all of the increased discovery and context alignment. So for brokers, we think that certainly you can manage or you can leverage Steward Market in three primary ways. Of course, first you can represent your sell side clients. You can also create masked seller listings for founders who also want aligned visibility without overexposure. Second, you can represent your buyers, buy side clients. You can create their buyer profiles that show how your clients intend to own and what they're looking for, what kind of sellers that should find them. And third, of course, you can have provide for your own firm's visibility on Steward Market. So certainly that's what we've built here. We feel really strongly about that these types of deals require full visibility and transparency across all sides of the table. So let me transition back to the slides for a few more moments, and then we'll get into questions. Okay. So what you just saw on the live platform follows a simple flow. I just wanted to recap this really quickly. So first users signal. So sellers share fundamentals, values, and priorities. Buyers and partners do the same. Second, the platform surfaces fit through those filters and badges. Then conversations begin, and the conversations are only begin when interest is mutual. So no cold outreach or no mass pitching. The way that the messaging platform works on Steward Market is very similar to how it works on LinkedIn, where you get basically one chance to reach out, and if who you reach out to doesn't respond, you can't continue to message them. So it works in a consent-based way to prevent, frankly, spamming. And then finally, the actual transition work happens off-platform, where when both sides are ready, with you maintaining control and maintaining when and how proprietary information is shared, when MNDAs are shared, when more information about the listing or profile that you're representing, more information about their identity or next steps. So the Steward Market is simply a discovery layer, not a replacement for your process. The pricing model matters as well, and I wanted to just quickly run through that with you. So unlike most or maybe all other discovery platforms on the market today, we do not charge a commission or success fee. We're not here to force transactions. We want the platform to support discovery, not distort the transaction or incentives, or certainly surface a new incentive. So for brokers, this also means Steward Market does not take a piece of your client's transaction. transaction. So that's something to keep in mind. Our fee model is based on our ethos as a platform, and we do not want Steward Market to become extractive in the very market that we're trying to make, frankly, less extractive. And we just have a concept of enough revenue to build, maintain, and improve and survive as a platform, enough to serve the ecosystem well, but not a model that requires us to take a large bite out of every transaction. So sellers, as you see, they pay a pay a low one-time listing fee. They can come on, they can come off, they can pause, they can make modifications to their listing as many times as they want for that one-time listing fee. Um, Buyers pay a monthly subscription fee, and that's to have their active listing and be able to communicate with anybody on the platform. And then partners also have a monthly subscription or an annual subscription. We do not charge for seats, so the pricing does not change based on the number of members or brokers that you have accessing the system. We simply charge based on usage. So we're with this model, what we're trying to do is build around flat fees, make it accessible, super transparent pricing, and not one that takes or relies on commission fees. So because of that, what we've and I showed this to you on a couple of different listings. I want to this is my opportunity to explain what the impact exit is. Because of that, where we've removed the commission, the sale or transaction commission from Steward Market, we have connected to a DAF instead, and the DAF is connected to which is a donor advised fund, is connected to our partner and managed and operated through our partner Impact Charitable, and it's our way of asking, well, if we didn't collect a commission, what if some of the value created through ownership transitions could actually circle back to the next generation of stewards? So that is the exercise there. It is entirely voluntary. It is opt-in. It happens at close, never up front, and runs through Impact Charitable. And everybody on Steward Market can participate. So sellers, buyers, and partners can signal, as you saw on their listing, that they're willing to contribute a small percentage of the transaction value or the professional fees made, in your instance, into the Steward Market Impact Fund. And for brokers and all members, of course, again, this is optional. For US-based clients, it's tax deductible. It's paid at close, never up front, and it supports mission-driven builders and acquirers moving forward. So the goal of what we're trying to do with Steward Market, of course, and with Impact Exit is that to elevate this idea that stewardship is really beyond a single deal. And we really hope to see, and we are seeing in early stages of the platform, that we've already had strong opt-in interest across all sides of the table. Sellers, buyers, and partners are opting in, and we're super excited about that. And if the model scales and real transaction liquidity moves to the platform, the Impact Exit could become a meaningful new source of philanthropic capital for mission-driven founders, employee transitions, and stewardship acquisitions. That's where the money will flow from that fund. It will go directly back into the ecosystem. So super excited about that. Happy to answer any more questions. We actually have resources on our YouTube channel that share more information about the Impact Exit if you're curious. I'm certainly happy to share those links. Okay, so on Steward Market, we believe if you're a founder, don't just sell your business, find your steward. If you're a buyer, show founders how you intend to own. And for brokers and advisors, create a partner profile, build seller listings, create buyer profiles for your clients, and use Steward Market as a new discovery layer for the different types of transitions you actually want to support. Better contacts, conversations, better fit clients, better outcomes. That is the promise of Steward Market. Better outcomes by design. So with that, I'll turn my camera back on. And Elena, let's see if we can get you off of mute. Did any questions come in that we could address?
Yeah, I got some directly messaged to me, and I think it's a good clarifying question on the partner profiles, buyers, sellers, and the communication within that. So, what's stopping a buyer and a seller from just going around me as a partner profile once they connect on the platform?
Well, good question. So there's a couple different ways, I guess, that that could happen depending on how your business is structured. If you are representing buyers and sellers that are also soliciting opportunities on their own, certainly they could come on a Steward Market and build their own profile or build their own seller listing and manage inquiries on their own. I don't imagine though that that would happen or that would happen without your knowledge per se. I think in most instances you that would be part of your service offering, that you're fielding inquiries, you're qualifying folks before you bring them to your buyer or seller for further evaluation. So in that instance, because Steward Market is anonymized on the buyer and seller side and you're actually managing the inquiries that come in, um, then you're in control of effectively when you make that information visible. So that's the way that we are limiting or preventing folks from going around you, but also just protecting their own identity until there's a qualified opportunity where you that information sharing is of interest to you, and you want to share that information. Does that answer the question? I hope so.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. It also
Yeah.
looks like we have a question in the chat from Matthew. So, can buyer and seller profiles flag seeking fractional sales of companies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So great question, Matthew. Thank you so much for that. 100%. So, and we know that that is present often and can be a variable in the transaction. So on Steward Market, we try to make it as flexible as possible. So you can indicate that you're just raising capital, maybe for an ongoing concern business. You're just looking for patient capital, impact capital that understands your mission, understands maybe your future priorities. For instance, if you wanted to transition to an employee ownership model and you're just looking for money to scale in order to get there, working with a bank or a financial advisor that understands that and has patient capital towards those goals, totally that's possible in Steward Market. On the sell side, if you are just looking to sell some assets or maybe some minority ownership, that is also available. That's one of the filters you can use, and certainly you can talk about that in the freeform text fields. And then, of course, if you're looking for a full exit or a slow transition out, you can do that as well. Great question.
Cool. And then we've got two more coming in from Matthew. Is deal room on the Steward Market roadmap?
Great question, Matthew. You always have good questions. Yes, we have talked about it. I think that's not on the immediate roadmap, but it depends on feedback and what people's needs are. I think what we always want to stay away from is we don't want to interfere. We never want to become a broker. I'll just say that flatly, honestly. I have no intention of ever getting a broker's license or offering more structured deal management through Steward Market or through any of our businesses. But setting up deal rooms where you can share documents, certainly we're looking into that. Our developer is on the line, Chandler. So certainly he can also attest that we've been talking about that, but it's not on the immediate roadmap, but it could be. And certainly we're getting feedback about different tools that we can integrate as well, especially as Steward Market attracts folks that, this is their first per se rodeo, and they might need a little bit more guidance or structure on how to think through that.
All right. And we've got another one. I heard greater depth of listing and price model changes from other company sale platforms. Any other key differences you want to highlight? And I'll also add one of the direct message questions is then we talk a lot, a unique difference on Steward Market is values as infrastructure. And then what if you don't really fit into any of those neat buckets? Like, what do you do?
Totally. No, 100%. And we don't want people to feel uncomfortable if they aren't a B Corp. Let me just say that. Or they don't have their fair trade cert, right? That happens. Or if they don't feel comfortable sharing ownership identity, that's totally cool. You don't have to. And that doesn't mean that you're excluded. We want you to participate. We just wanted to give people an opportunity to share those details if they are present and they do matter to them, because we know that that can help with alignment. Values can really put people at ease and help a transition find the right next home, when they feel like the person on the other side of that transaction will make decisions similarly to how they will, or they'll protect and preserve what they've built. So yes, first to that, on the latter half of the question, you are absolutely welcome. Please don't feel uncomfortable. It's not a negative. We just want it to be accretive if you did want to share those details. And that, to the earlier part of the question, I think that that's largely where it lies as well, that yes, Steward Market values its infrastructure and the pricing model are the most distinct differences on Steward Market, and I think that's largely where we wanted to play. We wanted to just provide a platform that's easy to access, regardless of where you are in the process. That it makes it easy for you to express the full picture, the human picture behind what you're trying to achieve through M&A, and to make that discoverable. So I think those are largely the things that we're doing. Of course, we also have some pretty unique endorsements, which I think make us a little bit different, and we'll have more endorsements, exciting endorsements to share. But really, our intention most flatly is to be the default home for where social enterprise transacts. So that is our focus, is helping people who care more about than the bottom line or just their own financial liquidity event, which of course matters, and you should get fair market value for your business, full stop. But that care more about the other components, having a place where they can come, where they can feel comfortable, and they can gain visibility to those types of buyers and partners who understand that. That is what we're trying to do, and I think that's another big differentiator with Steward Market.
I don't think you're finding that impact exit anywhere else.
Oh, and the impact exit, of course, yes, of course. So the impact exit, being connected to a DAF, no commissions, yes, 100%. Don't mean to undersell that. That's my favorite part.
Great. Do you want to take one more question, or should we end it on our impact exit note?
We can take one more question.
Okay.
Go for it.
Great. This is going to be a little bit more tactical too, but if I bring my own buyer network into the platform, we know that some folks represent like 50 different
Sure.
businesses. Do I get any kind of credit or visibility for that? Or does it just kind of become absorbed by Steward Market?
Yeah, no, a good question there. And I think that you absolutely get credit for it because you control it, right? Nothing changes. This is just a net new marketing play for your business. And I think when you connect your buyer listings to your partner profile, that's where you really get full credit, and you can start to talk about the types of deals that you work on, the types of deals that you want, right? So that you can do your best work. So the buyers that you represent, totally under your control. You can talk about it. You can advertise about it. You can advertise it, of course, through your own platforms. We could partner with you on different ways to promote your participation on Steward Market. And also, we often like to, if there's when we're working with great people who are working with great people and delivering great outcomes, we'd love to also have you on our podcast, Ethical Exit. So that's another way that that you're not just absorbed into our universe, but you're further promoted to the universe that you care about. Awesome. Well, I guess that concludes. Thank you, Elena, for running through the questions. Feel free to reach out to us. Certainly, we'll be following up with emails on everybody who attended today and everybody who registered for today's demo. Hopefully, that really helped you understand how we're thinking about broker relationships, and how we set out to design maybe something a little bit different, but certainly a creative to what you're doing. We're not trying to change the way that you do business. We're not trying to control where you advertise. Today, we're just trying to be an additional net new positive option, especially for folks who want to be exposed to more social enterprises, or those who are actively working with social enterprise or non-social enterprise, but folks who are looking for a more complete deal when it comes to just prioritizing something other than just that final financial number. So thank you for joining us today. Look forward to seeing you in the future. Have a great one.